Have you ever closed the door to a room, just so no one would see the mess inside? I know that feeling all too well. For years, in my small New York City apartment, I avoided whole corners of my life because of the clutter that piled up. It wasn't just stuff, it was shame, guilt, and a constant reminder of what I hadn't done. Maybe you felt the same. Weighed down every time you walk past that one drawer, closet, or stack of papers. But here's the truth. You are not alone, and it doesn't have to stay this way. Today, I'm taking the first step with you. Not the whole apartment, not an overwhelming overhaul, just one small, doable change that can lift the weight off your shoulders. Together, we'll prove that no matter your age, it's never too late to reclaim your space, your confidence, and your peace of mind. Living in a small apartment in New York City means every inch matters. But when clutter piles up, it doesn't just take away space, it takes away peace. Every pile of papers, every bag left in the corner, feels like a heavy reminder of promises I didn't keep. It whispers, you failed, you'll never get ahead. And that voice keeps you stuck, ashamed to invite anyone over, frustrated with yourself, even avoiding the places that should feel like home. I know, because I carried that same burden for years. But here's what I discovered. Clutter isn't a sign of weakness. It's a signal that life got busy, overwhelming, or just plain hard. And the way forward isn't about perfection. It's about starting small. One shelf, one drawer, one step at a time. Because every small win builds momentum, and momentum creates freedom. If you've ever felt paralyzed by shame or blame, know this, you can take your home back. And with it, your sense of pride. Today, we're not tackling the whole apartment. That's too much, and it's why so many of us never even begin. Instead, we're focusing on one small corner. The corner I used to avoid every time I walked into my living room. You know the spot, the one that quietly drains your energy, the one you pretend not to see. By the end of this video, that same space will look and feel completely different. Not because I did a massive overhaul, but because I finally gave myself permission to start small. And that's the secret. Real change doesn't come from cleaning the entire house in one exhausting weekend. It comes from choosing one area, reclaiming it, and proving to yourself that progress is possible. That single win erases years of guilt and replaces it with pride. If you've been waiting for the right time to begin, this is it. One corner, one choice, one step closer to peace. Phase 1. Face the corner. The hardest part isn't the clutter itself, it's facing it without turning away. I remember standing in my living room, eyes locked on that corner, feeling a mix of dread, shame, and frustration. I wanted to look away, to pretend it wasn't there. Maybe you know that feeling too. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later, tomorrow, next week. But later becomes months, even years. And the clutter grows heavier, not just on the shelves or floor, but in your heart. So here's the trick I used. I didn't commit to cleaning the whole space. I didn't even promise myself I'd finish the corner. I gave myself just 5 minutes. 5 minutes to stand there, to look honestly at the pile, and to choose one thing to touch, one thing to move. That's it. Not 5 hours, not an afternoon, just 5 minutes. Because 5 minutes feels doable, even when you're tired, even when your energy isn't what it used to be. And once you start, something amazing happens. Momentum takes over. As I stood there, I picked up the first item, a stack of old magazines I hadn't read in years. At first, guilt washed over me. I thought about the money spent, the wasted space. But then I reminded myself, guilt doesn't clean a room. Action does. I took a deep breath, placed the magazines into the recycling bag, and instantly felt lighter. That single choice gave me the strength to keep going. And then came the surprise. As I moved more things, I discovered items I hadn't seen in ages. At the very bottom of the pile was something that stopped me in my tracks. It was a small envelope, tucked away, yellowed with age. Inside was a handwritten letter from a dear friend who had passed away years ago. For a moment, time froze. That letter reminded me why decluttering matters. It's not about throwing everything away. It's about uncovering the treasures buried beneath the chaos. The things that truly deserve to be remembered and cherished. That's why I say, wait until you see what I found under that pile. It shocked me, not because it was clutter, but because it was a piece of my life I thought I'd lost forever. That discovery transformed the way I looked at this process. Decluttering isn't about shame, it's about rediscovery. Here's the advice I want you to take from this. When you face your own corner, don't focus on the size of the mess. Don't listen to the voice that says, it's too late. You'll never get through it. Instead, set a timer for 5 minutes. Tell yourself you only need to make one decision. Maybe it's tossing an old receipt. Maybe it's folding a sweater. Maybe it's simply dusting off a forgotten photo. One small action is enough to break the cycle of avoidance. And here's something important. Don't judge yourself while you do it. Clutter doesn't mean failure. It means life happened. Illness, caregiving, busyness, or just the reality of living in a small apartment with limited energy. It all adds up. Give yourself compassion in this moment. You're not behind. You're simply beginning again. When my 5 minutes were up, I noticed something unexpected. I didn't want to stop. That tiny spark of accomplishment made me want to keep going, just a little bit more. And even if I had stopped right there, I would have still won because I had broken the cycle of avoidance and proven to myself that I could face the corner without fear. So if you're standing in front of your own pile, paralyzed by shame or blame, here's your invitation. Take 5 minutes. Just 5. Don't clean the room. Don't declutter the whole apartment. Simply face the corner. Touch one item. Make one decision. That's all it takes to turn a mountain of shame into a series of small, doable steps. And trust me, along the way, you might just find something precious waiting for you beneath the clutter. Because decluttering isn't just about cleaning up a room. It's about reclaiming pieces of yourself that you thought were buried forever. And sometimes, the very thing you've been avoiding is the doorway back to peace. Phase 2, the 3-box method. Once I had faced the corner, I needed a way to keep going without getting overwhelmed. That's where the 3-box method comes in. A simple system that doesn't require bending, overthinking, or exhausting yourself with endless decisions. I set out 3 boxes, or in my case, 3 sturdy bags, labeled Keep, Donate, and Trash. Here's why this works so well. Especially if you're a little older, have limited mobility, or are simply tired of clutter controlling your space. It removes the need to make complicated choices. Every item you touch has just 3 possible fates. Keep it if you use it or love it. Donate it if it still has life, but not in your home. Trash it if it's broken, outdated, or no longer needed. That's it. No fourth option, no maybe later, pile, no agonizing. Clear categories mean clear progress. I placed the boxes at waist height, so I wouldn't have to bend down every time. That's another little trick. Make the system work for your body, not against it. Clutter is tiring enough without straining your back or knees in the process. As I began, I picked up an old coffee mug, chipped, stained, tucked in the corner for years. It didn't spark joy, as some people say. It sparked annoyance every time I saw it. Into the trash box it went. Simple. Then came a stack of scarves I hadn't worn in years, but were still in good condition. They went into the donate box, and I smiled imagining someone else enjoying them this winter. That smile mattered. It turned letting go into something positive. And then came the moment that almost broke my heart. I picked up an old photo frame. The glass was cracked, the frame worn, and for a second, I nearly tossed it into the trash box. But something made me stop. I pulled the photo out, and there it was, a picture of my parents. Taken decades ago at a family gathering I'd nearly forgotten. For a split second, I almost threw away something priceless. That's why I say, and here's the item I almost threw away, but realized it was priceless. This is what makes decluttering so powerful. You don't just clear space, you rediscover memories, reconnect with your story, and rescue the things that truly matter. If I had rushed through or overthought every choice, that photo might have been lost forever. Instead, the 3-box method gave me enough structure to move quickly while still leaving room for reflection. The beauty of this system is that it builds confidence with every item. You don't need to solve your whole life in one afternoon. You just need to decide, piece by piece. Keep, donate, trash. With each choice, you take back control of your space and your mind. And when the donate box fills, you feel lighter knowing those items will serve someone else. When the trash fills, you see the weight literally leaving your home. And when the keep box has only what you truly use or love, you realize your surroundings finally match the life you want to live today. So here's the advice. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect mood. Grab 3 boxes, label them clearly, and give yourself permission to move quickly. No overthinking, no guilt. If you hesitate on an item, ask yourself, do I love this? Do I use this? Does this support the life I want now? If the answer is no, it goes into donate or trash. Simple as that. When I stepped back after a short session, I noticed the corner looked different, not because it was completely finished, but because the chaos had been broken down into order. What was once a mountain of shame was now 3 neat boxes, each representing action and progress. That transformation didn't take hours. It didn't take strength I no longer have. It just took a clear, simple method and the courage to start. And that photo I almost lost? I placed it in the keep box, ready to frame again with care. A reminder that decluttering is never just about clearing space. It's about uncovering the pieces of your life that deserve to shine, and letting go of everything that hides them. So as you begin your own journey, remember this: clutter doesn't need complicated solutions. It needs a simple system, compassion for yourself, and the willingness to make one choice at a time. With the 3-box method, every item becomes a step forward. And step by step, box by box, you'll feel your home and your heart grow lighter. Phase 3, the release. For years, I blamed myself for holding on too long. Every time I saw that pile in the corner, I told myself, you should have dealt with this by now. What's wrong with you? Maybe you've said something similar to yourself. But here's the truth I finally had to learn. Letting go isn't failure, it's freedom. That moment hit me hardest when I looked at the donate box, now filled with scarves, books, and little items I once convinced myself I might need one day. That phrase, one day, had kept me trapped for years. But when I picked up each item and asked, am I really going to use this? Do I love it enough to give it space in my home today? The answer was almost always no. And letting it go didn't mean I had wasted my past. It meant I was choosing my present. Here's something important I want you to know when you release items. You're not erasing memories or disrespecting the people who gave them to you. You're simply deciding what deserves to move forward with you into this chapter of life. The love, the connection, the stories, they stay in your heart. The clutter is just the extra weight you no longer need to carry. I remember holding one particular book, a gift from a friend I hadn't spoken to in years. I felt guilty even thinking about donating it. But then I asked myself, does this book serve me today, or could it serve someone else better? That shift in perspective changed everything. By donating it, I wasn't betraying the memory. I was giving the book a chance to bring joy to someone new, instead of gathering dust on my shelf. That's what the release really is. It's not just about clearing space, it's about creating opportunity. For you, it's the opportunity to breathe easier, to walk into your living room and feel calm instead of anxious. For someone else, it's the opportunity to receive something useful that you no longer need. Everyone wins. But I'll be honest, releasing isn't always easy. Sometimes, as seniors, we carry years of history in every object. Each one tells a story, and that's okay. What matters is understanding that releasing the object doesn't mean releasing the memory. A great tip here is to take a photo of anything that feels too heavy to part with. That way, you keep the memory safe without keeping the clutter. When I carried that first bag of donations toward the door, something surprising happened. I expected to feel sadness, But instead I felt lighter, almost as if I had put down a weight I didn't realize I was carrying. The apartment didn't just look different, it felt different. And more importantly, I felt different. For the first time in years, I could see possibility instead of guilt when I looked at that corner. And here's what I want you to hear most of all. You don't have to wait for the perfect day to release. You don't have to be in the perfect mood or have the perfect amount of energy. Release is simply about making a decision in the moment, choosing freedom over fear, peace over guilt, and space over shame. Even one bag of donations, even one box of trash, is progress. It's proof that you are capable of change at any stage of life. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're brave enough to start fresh. And every item you release makes room, not just in your apartment, but in your spirit. Room for joy, room for peace, room for the life you want to live now, in this moment. So, as I tied up that bag and set it aside, I whispered to myself, this isn't loss, this is freedom. And I want you to whisper it too, every time you let something go. Because with every release, you're reclaiming your home, and more importantly, yourself. Phase 4, the reset. When the last bag was tied and the last decision made, I stood in front of that corner and took a deep breath. For the first time in years, I could actually see the floor, the wall, the space itself. And in that moment, I realized something important. This space isn't just tidy, it's peaceful, and it finally feels like home again. Here's the thing about clutter, it's sneaky. You stop noticing it day by day, but it's always there, draining your energy, whispering that you're behind, making your apartment feel smaller than it is. But when it's gone, the absence is so powerful it feels like someone lifted a weight off your shoulders. That's the reset I want you to feel too. A reset isn't about perfection. It doesn't mean every room in your apartment is spotless, or that you suddenly live like a minimalist. A reset is about reclaiming one corner, one drawer, one shelf, and giving yourself proof that change is possible. And that proof fuels your confidence to keep going. Here's how I reset the space after releasing the clutter. I wiped down the surfaces, not to chase perfection, but to give myself a fresh starting point. I chose only a few things to return, items that were useful, meaningful, or beautiful. Not everything I once thought I should keep, just what felt right for the life I'm living now. One small lamp went back, casting a warm glow where there once was shadow. A framed photo of my parents, rescued from the clutter, found its place on the table, this time in a simple, clean frame. A single book I truly loved stayed on the shelf, instead of being buried among dozens I never touched. Suddenly, that corner wasn't a source of shame. It was a place of calm, a corner I actually wanted to sit beside. And that's the power of the reset. It transforms not only your environment, but also your emotions. Instead of guilt, you feel pride. Instead of heaviness, you feel lightness. Instead of avoiding the space, you're drawn to it. One corner can change the way your whole home feels, because it breaks the pattern of hopelessness. Now, here's some practical advice if you're resetting your own space. After you've cleared the clutter, resist the urge to fill it back up again. Let it breathe. Keep only what matters. If you're not sure about an item, ask yourself, does this make me feel calm? Does this support the life I want now? If not, it doesn't belong in your reset space. Another tip, add a touch of joy. It doesn't have to be expensive or fancy. Maybe it's a candle with a soothing scent, a cozy chair cushion, or a plant that brings a little life into the room. Something small that makes you smile every time you see it. That small addition turns the reset into a reward. And don't underestimate the emotional impact of simply sitting in your reset space when it's done. I sat there for a while, soaking in the difference. I felt gratitude, relief, and yes, pride. Pride that I didn't let shame win this time. Pride that I took control, even in a small way. And pride that my apartment, once again, felt like mine. That's why I say, this space isn't just tidy, it's peaceful. And it finally feels like home again. Because home isn't about square footage. or perfect decor, or impressing anyone else. It's about creating a space where you can rest, breathe, and feel safe. And you can do that no matter your age, no matter how much clutter you've been holding on to. So here's your encouragement. Don't underestimate the power of a reset. Choose one space, big or small, and give yourself the gift of seeing it clear, calm, and welcoming. That one space will ripple out into the rest of your home, and more importantly, into your heart. Because the truth is, you deserve to live in a home that feels good. You deserve peace. And every reset brings you one step closer to the life you want to live. Right here, right now. I grew up in a family where holding on to things was love. Every gift, every keepsake, every scrap of paper felt like proof that someone cared. Letting go wasn't just hard. It felt like betrayal, like erasing the people and moments that mattered most. Maybe you felt that too, staring at an item you never use but can't bring yourself to release. But here's what I learned today. Love isn't trapped in objects. Love lives in the memories we carry, the stories we tell, and the way we choose to live now. Holding on can be beautiful, but so can letting go. Because sometimes, love looks like space to move freely. Light filling a room that was once blocked, and the relief of finally breathing easier. Decluttering isn't about erasing your past. It's about honoring it while making room for peace in the present. The shame that once kept me from inviting friends over? Gone. For years I avoided even answering the door because I didn't want anyone to see the clutter. But now, standing in this cleared corner, what I feel isn't embarrassment, it's pride. Pride that I faced the mess instead of hiding from it. Pride that I took action even when it felt impossible. And most of all, pride that I proved to myself change is possible, one small step at a time. This corner may seem simple, but it's more than just clean. It's a reminder that I have the courage to keep going. If one corner can feel this peaceful, imagine what happens when I tackle the next. That's the secret. You don't have to do it all at once. Start small, celebrate the win, and let that momentum carry you forward. What's the one spot in your home that fills you with dread every time you see it? Maybe it's a closet, a drawer, or even the kitchen counter. Share it in the comments below. I may cover that exact problem in the next video. Your story could help inspire someone else to take their first step, too. And if this gave you hope, even for one small change, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Simplify After 60. Every week, I share one simple step toward freedom, peace, and a home you actually enjoy living in. Remember, it's never too late to reset your space and yourself, one corner at a time.